Good evening to everybody. It is June 1st, 2010, and this is day 9 daily number 128. Ooh, love those big numbers. And today we have some awesome gaming action going on. We have me against Zion, who is a surprisingly beastly Zerg. And I say surprisingly beastly because I tend to have a lot of confidence in my PvZ. I think my Protoss versus Zerg is pretty killer. I 2-gate all the time, right? But he just sort of intimidated me with how many units he's just able to get. So, whoopsie daisies. In other news, I cannot believe how unbelievably great of a mood I'm in today. And I think it's because I've been sleeping. Because many of you know that I love not sleeping in favor of casting and doing other things and re-encoding videos and fixing my setup to make it even better. For your viewing experience and viewing pleasure and all that good stuff. But instead, I just slept a lot in the last few days, and I just can't believe how great that feels. Also, I'm drinking coffee, which is really good. Coffee and green tea, some of my favorite supplements to the day. And of course, I get asked this question on a regular basis. People say, Day, are you high, man? Dude, Day is drunk. And this might surprise many people. I have never done any drug ever in my entire life at all. I've never even like smoked a cigarette, and I drink maybe once every 2 months, maybe. Most of the time I just play video games and giggle because I have a lot of caffeine. But I do have chocolate regularly. I actually just finished eating a bar of chocolate. It was tasty. So now I'm in a good mood, ready to cast the daily. Fantastic. So before we begin, I wanted to talk a little tiny teensy weensy bit of about just playing a matchup, playing it a lot, because I do play random in Starcraft 2, and I love playing random because I get the chance to play all the three races. What I always say is that you know, when I lose, I don't think, oh, I hate that strategy, it's so imbalanced. I think, oh, cool, I'm going to do that strategy to somebody else, and then I do. And of course, it makes me feel very clever all the time, because it's just this like endless circle where I'm just looping strategies I pick up from other people. But in particular, what's weird about playing random is that you tend to get good at matchups instead of with the race. I know a lot of people talked this way with Brood War and have carried it over to StarCraft 2, where they say things like, yeah, Zerg vs. Terran is my best, Zerg vs. Protoss my weakest, Zerg vs. Zerg, this is just kind of what I do. They talk that way. But, you know, with random, I get to say things like, I'm great at Protoss vs. Zerg and Terran vs. Zerg, and I'm awful at all the mirrors, and I'm okay at Terran vs. Protoss. You know, you end up like, well, I'm okay against Terran in this one circumstance on this one map. But part of the reason why I suppose I haven't had the strongest overall game is because I like dabbling in a lot of strategies. I like playing around with, you know, with Protoss. I've been experimenting with Void Rays against Terran. I've been experimenting with Dark Templar rushes. I've been experimenting with just fast blink, just mass warp gate styles. Well, do I get Templar here? Do I get Colossus here? And that sort of thing. And I think the one big exception is in Protoss vs. Zerg. I have pretty much limited myself to 2-gating almost exclusively. Occasionally on a map like Kulos Ravine, where I'm not that comfortable taking my natural early on, I will do some sort of warp gate in main strategy and so on and so forth. But I've been doing a lot of cool experimentation with 2-gating, and this, I think, has given me a lot of fun insight into the matchup, just because I'm really drilling super deep with this one opening, the 2-gate opening. And I also do want to state, before we go into this cast, that all of you, like 100% of you, need to go watch Mardo against Sock. I just uploaded it onto my Blip TV account, day9tv.blip.tv. Go there, watch them. The games are incredible. It was a best of 5, and every single game was epic. Ooh. And I got to cast it this morning, so of course, coffee, sleep, kick-ass games. Who could ask for more? So we're going to jump directly into this game that I played against Zion. We played on Blistering Sands several times. And this is me spawning as the Protoss at the right. Now, this isn't the game that I really want to focus on too much, so I will be doing this one relatively quickly, but I just thought that would be useful to at least point out some of the stuff that I was experimenting around with. Now, I'm going to say right now, I am going to be expanding. I am going to be planning on doing something like 2-gating right here, and of course I'm already talking to Zion, LLL, about this. I do intend on 2-gating here, building gateways at my front, so on and so forth. It's similar to what Nazgul does on this map, and now what a lot of Protoss players do on this map, where they 10 gate here with the intention of walling in with a forge. I just wall in with 2 gateways right at the start. And of course, like I was talking about 2 gate and built my pylon way late. As we can see, I build it basically on 10. But, you know, always good to get a horrible game out of the way right at the start. So this was my thought. I was noticing that in 2-gate styles, I have a tendency to stop making zealots a little bit earlier than I want to. And of course, here's me joking about the fact that I play on the low settings with very quiet volume, whereas when I'm playing in-game, or excuse me, when I'm casting, I do it in medium settings with the sound almost off, and when I'm playing, I have the sound maxed and everything on low settings. And of course, while I'm typing all this, I am building my gateway late. I wanted to build it at 11, but again, ignore such things. We're just going to think about the overall focus. So I was noticing that I would stop building zealots in a lot of circumstances. For instance, if he went for a 14 pool and then he's 16 hatches at his front, I would happily barrel in with zealots until I got into a great position. Very easy to do that. Basically, you only have to worry about the surges when his larva inject happens, which is about when you have 5 and 8 zealots, respectively. That's when those first two extra larvae end up popping off, and you actually have to be concerned. But anyways, against other strategies, like for instance when my opponent decides to 1-base it up, in those circumstances, and of course he sees me 2-gating and is of course making a nice little happy pretty star out here. In the circumstances where he does do this 1-base strategy, I would end up, I would make 3 zealots, and that's it. And then I would stop production. I would build, I would expand, build a forge, build a cannon, and then back off. But I was thinking, why not just make way more zealots? I mean, people tend to just think that roaches are way stronger against zealots, to the point where they're basically invincible. But either way, we're just going to breeze through this game very quickly. So the adjustment that I wanted to make, the first one was, I want to try to make more zealots at the start of the game. And the second one was that in watching White Ra against Idra, and just White Ra's general Protoss versus Zerg, he goes for 4 warp gates, 1 robotics facility to get a fast Colossus, and then he also gets a fast Twilight Council so he can get the +2 upgrade very quickly. And I was thinking, well, instead of... I do want the +2 upgrade very quickly, and of course, again, like I said, this game I played less than good. There's a sacrificial zealot for him. What I saw White Ra do was I saw White Ra get this very fast Twilight Council, and I thought, I want to get the fast +2 as well, but let me experiment around with just not getting this emphasis on the Colossus, right? Let me just try to do a little bit more gateway-centric play. Let me try to just 2-gate, make a lot of zealots, and then just sort of stay on a gateway-ish style. So before this game, before these series of practice games, I basically went 2-gate, expand, then robo, then more gateways. That's pretty much what I did. And I would cut zealots really early on. And this game, I try to just continue to make zealots. As we can see, I'm still making zealots. I'm not making zealots, I should say. But I'm making way more than my initial 3. And of course, I'm trying to get in here, but I think I'm being already a little too aggressive because with the creep, he is so much faster than I am that he can happily just micro me to pieces. And of course we see there are the pieces that I'm falling into. But you know, this looks kind of like a horrible situation for me, but what I want you to note is that if we go to the unit counting station, I'm ahead of him on probes. I'm getting my expansion up before he is. Really doesn't have that amazing of an economy, only just now getting his second queen up. So I'm feeling okay-ish about this. I dislike that my food is so low. I sent a probe up here just to spot outside his front, and of course I don't focus on it too much, just suicide it. Again, this is the bad game, so I will just happily note, yeah, and I try to run around with a zealot and of course forget about him, and then go, oh yeah, let's keep attacking. And then he has queens, so of course nothing really comes out of it. And I end up feeling not so great about this game. It just felt icky. And I figured it would be a useful just starting point to sort of show how my usual Protoss vs. Zerg went. I'm taking my gas geysers very quickly. I'm going to make primarily sentries. I'm going to be chrono boosting almost exclusively my probes to get ahead in that regard. Something happened here. I think it was some severe lag, but either way, I'm spreading out pylons. Don't want to get Nidus wormed. Probably should build a pylon here. That's also a very vulnerable location. But yeah, I'm getting my robotics facility. And again, I'm going to speed this up. I didn't think that the zealot went horrifically, like the mass zealot opening, but I'm noticing afterwards, I just feel really vulnerable. I'm not used to not having this much money, because again, ordinarily I would make 3 zealots if I saw roaches, but this game I made like 7, 8, 9 zealots, something like that. And again, I normally do spend a lot of my money on sentries early on. I get an observer out just to check up on what he's doing, and I remember getting into his base and going, oh shit, he has a lot of things, doesn't he? So, I didn't quite like the way that this was looking. And again, this is just the dummy game, and of course, he contaminates me. I can't build anything out of that, but of course I'm awful, so I wasn't building anything out of there anyways. And this really goes to show you how much an adjustment can screw you up. Here's my Twilight Council out. This will again allow me to get the +2 upgrade. Oh, aren't I fancy? And now, normally I do end up pushing here when I have around 2 immortals or so. Of course, he contaminated it, and by that I mean that I'm awful. I mean, look at my distribution of money. Broke on money, high on gas. Woo, that's weird. Yeah, just wasn't really feeling it this game. And this timing push that I ordinarily do, it normally is a little bit bigger, but